This morning, let's explore the 23rd chapter of the Heart Treasure to determine how to know upon which teaching to rely. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi. This is the Lama you are looking for. This morning, we could chant and meditate and enjoy a lesson or two. But first, if you love Star Wars and you wish to meditate as transformatively as Yoda learned to do on Dagobah under the guidance of Qui-Gon Jinn, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. If at any point during this morning's live stream you have a question about meditation, or philosophy, or even chanting, there's no need to be shy. Simply type your question in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. Unless you're watching a replay, then you'll want to type your question in the comment area below the video. Oops, gotta blow my nose. We turn to the 23rd passage of the Heart Treasure of the Enlightened Ones, attributed to the last meditation manual, attributed to the great Tibetan saint Dzampa Rinpoche in the late 1800s, translated by the Padmakara group, adapted and amplified by yours truly. Whatever I know I have left it is theory, it is no use to me now. Whatever I have done, I have spent on this life, it is no use to me now. Whatever I have thought was all just illusion, it is no use to me now. Now the time has come to do what is really useful, recite the six syllable mantra. So this could be interpreted as something akin to the Tibetan Buddhist version of the tale of the wineskins. In the tale of the wineskins attributed to the Buddha, we are taught that to pour new wine into old wineskins, lest the skin burst and the wine be lost, but rather to put new wine into new wineskins. Suzuki wrote, to embrace the beginner's mind where all things are possible, free, and the inferences free from preconceptions. Some of us look for reasons not to trust others, just to hold them in suspicion. And we waste time and money assuming that everyone is either dumber than us or more deceitful than us. And the opposite extreme is to be incredibly gullible. So what is the middle extreme? It's discovered two ways. Externally, it's discovered thusly. Receive a teaching, applied enthusiastically, at least for 5 minutes every 12 hours for 7 consecutive days, and then notice the results. If doing as you were told with the utmost of enthusiasm, not setting yourself up for defeat, does not generate the peace or the freedom or the love or the joy that you desire, or actually diminishes what you have, then continue your search for new teaching and maybe a new teacher. However, if that week's effort makes you feel like you have more joy, more love, more peace, more wisdom, then perhaps you're on a path that's serving you, at least for now. Now, that's the external approach. Here's the internal approach. An effective practice of meditation, once again, practiced at least once every 12 hours, will help your utterances and choices and deeds to flow upon a metaphoric stream of centered spontaneity. A river, if you will. Flowing from the place of centered spontaneity, we come to certain teachers, we go to other teachers, we play with certain teachings, we go to other teachings. We do not try to define ourselves through consistency. If our identity is determined by flowing from not scatteredness, not contrivances, shoulds, but centered spontaneity, then everything will work out. And now for a minute of housekeeping. Every 12 hours, I broadcast a live meditation class without any ads. With your help, this channel could come to support the next generation of nuns, monks, yogis, lamas, and even brick-and-mortar meditation centers, each replete with a resident teacher and their apprentice. If this speaks to you, if this sounds like a good idea, you're welcome to help out for as little as the cost of 1 cup of coffee a month. Simply use your smartphone to capture this QR code on the screen, or scroll below and click one of the donation links, in the description area below the video. Once again, if you've just joined us, when you have any questions about meditation or philosophy or chanting, type your question in great detail in the chat window. Let us train in empathy and enthusiasm by performing the recitations of bodhicitta and refuge. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. For our final pre-meditation chant, let's turn our attention to this translation of the Heart of Wisdom Sutra. Decades have elapsed since first I was exposed to this text, and I'm going to teach it to you the way I wish it had been taught to me. It would have really, that time and effort would have been saved. It is said that Quan Chi and Pu saw an archetype of enlightened compassion while moving in the deep peace of perfect understanding. So right there, here's a great litmus test. If our worldview does not give us peace, then we have to re-question the efficacy of that understanding. Shed light on the 5 aggregates and found them equally empty. After this realization, she made peace with all pain. Sometimes known as the 5 aggregates, sometimes known as Pancha Skanda, is just an arbitrary way of organizing our present moment experience. That's not terribly important. What is important is this idea of emptiness. Now, if we make the mistake of exploring it literally, it will lead to the dead ends of either skullduggery or superstition. I don't recommend either. So let's explore emptiness figuratively. To do that, we need to see the basic practice of meditation. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we access our sympathetic nervous system, which evolved to perceive sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like, as well as perceive emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings, and to do so vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and spontaneously. That is why during our in-breath it can be helpful to mentally recite notice all, as opposed to hiding from all. But what are we to do with all the stuff that we notice? Fortunately, every time we exhale, we access our parasympathetic nervous system, which evolved to support both our physical relaxation as well as our mental release. That is why during the out-breath we can mentally recite relaxing. In fact, doing so, when we do that, that which we noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast empty void. It could feel as if it was as non-graspable as the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could be tantalizing to the eye, could be intangible to the grasp. And there you have it. Emptiness demystified. Let's continue with our chanting. Listen, Shari Buddha, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Form does not differ from emptiness, emptiness does not differ from form. I remember one time I was at an event at a local Dharma center, and I'm on my canes, and I've got a pack on my shoulders, and I tripped, and instead of saying if I was okay, some adult came by and said smirkingly, "Oh, the skandhas give rise to kleshas, do they not?" That man was so enthusiastic to show off his meager understanding of Sanskrit that he failed to exercise even anything that smacked of compassion or empathy. Let us not be that way. The same is true with feelings of praise or impulse and awareness. So form is our body, feeling is our experience of pleasure, pain, or neither. Appraisal is the intensity of the experience. For instance, if feeling was the YouTube channel that we are on, appraisal would be the volume. Impulse is our knee-jerk reaction, and awareness is kind of like the football field upon which the players stand, or run, or scamper, if you please. Listen, Shariputra, phenomena are marked with emptiness. They are neither produced nor destroyed, neither corrupted nor purified, neither increasing nor decreasing. This and that how not to. Therefore in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no appraisal, no impulse and no awareness that once perceived cannot be released. No sensation, no flavor, no scent, no sound, no sight, no phenomena that once perceived cannot be released. No body, no tongue, no nose, no ears, no eyes, no mind that once perceived cannot be released. No feeling, no tasting, no smelling, no hearing, no seeing, no noticing that once perceived cannot be released. No interdependent origins and no extinction of them from confusion to aging and death that once perceived cannot be released. No stress, no exacerbation, no liberation, no path. No understanding, no attainment that once perceived cannot be released. Because there is no attainment that once perceived cannot be released. The Bodhisattva archetypes of enlightenment supported by the perfection of understanding find no obstacles for the minds that once perceived cannot be released. Having no obstacles that once perceived cannot be released, they transcend the tyranny of fear, liberating themselves forever from the tyranny of illusion and realizing perfect nirvana. So this freedom, not from the presence of fear and illusion, but from the tyranny of fear and illusion, is rooted in the fact that whatever we perceive, we can relax into and therefore make peace with. If you've just joined me, when you have questions about meditation, philosophy, or chanting, do type them in great detail in the chat window. All Buddhas of the past, present, and future, thanks to this perfect understanding, arrive at full right and universal enlightenment. Therefore one should know that perfect understanding is like a great mantra, is like an unequaled mantra, the destroyer of all suffering, the incorruptible truth. A mantra prajna paramita's perfect understanding can therefore be proclaimed. This is the mantra gate gate para samgate bodhi swaha. May also notice, relax, and release that we go completely and perfectly go to enlightenment. Having completed our opening chanting, we proceed to meditation. As we mentioned a few moments ago, as we breathe in, we practice mindfulness by mentally reciting, notice this. As we breathe out, we practice the meditation of letting go by mentally reciting, relaxing. Whilst doing this, do your best to sit up straight, rest your palms in your lap, rest your hands in your lap, palms up, with the edge of each hand adjacent to your lower belly. It is 20 minutes after the hour. Let's meditate. So noticing all is not an active behavior, but a passive one. Excuse me. We use all as opposed to this in hopes of signifying that we're not being partial. We're being completely vulnerable to whatever comes up, however it comes up. Far too often fear or greed inspire us to focus upon one thing. Doing so takes us out of the flow state. Better to notice the uncomfortable truth. that sometimes we get what we want when we want it for as long as we want, but most of the time we don't. What comes up goes up must come down. Everything that is born will eventually die. There is no life that is free from the experience of pleasure or pain, or interest or dullness, or the glorious or the grotesque. Our job is not to chase some things and flee others, but to meditate in such a way that it makes it easier and easier for us to flow from centered spontaneity. That is where our greatest love comes from, and our greatest luck, and our greatest wisdom. Life is unfair. In the Hebrew Old Testament, there's a passage from Ecclesiastes that reads, "The race is not always to the swiftest, nor the battle to the strongest, but time and chance happen to all." At this moment, you may be perfectly able-bodied, able to sit with your legs crossed upon a cushion with a tall, tall posture. And that's great. But that might not always be the case. You may have an injury. You may be ravished by old age. Old age is a lion that stalks us all. And speaking of lions, we think of a lion as the king of the jungle. What happens to old lions? Well, old lions are usurped from their power base by young lions. And they wind up alone, often too sick and too frail to hunt, too weak to feed themselves, and the common death of a lion is to be eaten alive by hyenas. Well, why would I mention that? That's horrible. No matter how strong or swift we are, how clever or charming we may be, misfortune visits us all. Misfortune is not an indictment. It is not something to be railed against or prevailed against or laid down for. It's just one of the many things that make our life interesting. And we are to notice it and release it. And because of the centered spontaneity that action generates, flow with it, dance with it. Let's take a break from meditation and instead practice contemplation. Let us begin by contemplating stress. Mentally, we could experience shoving or reaching or clinging or competing, any of which is stressful. Mentally, let's recite. Silently and mentally, let's recite. How could mind feel stressful? Let us now train with a compassionate intention. All beings stress. May I soothe. Let us train in impermanence with the rhetorical question, how could this always change? How could this not be me? This rhetorical question helps us to better let go. And now let's return to mindfulness and meditation with the silent recitation of the words, notice all, relaxing. The seven enlightenment factors could be described from a certain point of view as being mindfulness, curiosity, energy, joy, tranquility, collectedness, and balance. Do you want more energy? Sit up straight. Breathe energetically. Do you want more joy? Allow a subtle smile to pull at the corners of your lips, to lift the apples of your cheeks, and to crinkle the crow's feet of your eyes. Collectedness comes from our inhalation. Tranquility comes from relaxing in harmony with our exhalation. Balance comes from applying the exact same attitude to whatever we encounter, pleasurable, painful, or neither. Curiosity doesn't say, oh, I'm experiencing a bad memory or a dark fantasy, I should shove it away. Curiosity says, let's play with it. Let's notice its presence. Let's relax into its non-graspability, like a child with a new toy on their birthday. The fourth enlightenment factor, joy, is an excellent litmus test, for it disappears when we are controlling, when we are resentful, when we are judgmental. What about those who take glee in finding fault with others, whether the fault is real or imagined? And that glee is the indictment displaying the absence of tranquility. Clever wordplay does not a Buddha make. Reading some sutras or shastras of questionable origin, you might think that if I fault find with others, then truly I'm enlightened. No, not at all, not even a little bit. Some people will use the trick bag method, where they will use a word one way, coercing the person they're speaking to use it the same way, and then find fault with them for doing that. I kid you not. Nagarjuna said we can use words or ideas conventionally or ultimately, but we need them both. Just as a bird requires both its wings to take to the skies, we need to both work with both vulnerable mindfulness, the way things seem, and ultimate release. Once again, the way things seem, in a manner that helps us to let go. If someone tells you one is better than the other, they are not your friend. I know teachers who emphasize mindfulness, ignore letting go. They harm their students. I know teachers who emphasize letting go. They ignore mindfulness, and they harm their students. We need both noticing and releasing. Releasing doesn't mean stuff goes away. Releasing means we stop pushing against it. A friend of mine walked in on his wife in flagrante delicto with another man. He walked into the living room and started meditating in an effort to deal with it. And although he was able to notice it and relax, it didn't stop the fact that he was being cuckolded. It helped him to make peace with it. Welcome to the live stream. If at any point you have a question about meditation or philosophy, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. Although we sit up straight, we choose not to be uptight and persnickety. There are times when meditation will be profoundly interesting and other times when it is boring. When we feel bored, what should we do? As we breathe in, notice the boredom. As we breathe out, relax into the non-graspable facet of boredom. If someone tells you physical pain or emotional boredom is the crucible in which your karmic negativities are ignited, they're making shit up. It's perfectly okay if you can't hang out with me for another 30 minutes. I completely understand. Do yourself a favor and download this practice text using the links in the description area below the video. And when you're done, seal your meditation with some compassionate intentions. Which are found in the pages beyond this page in the practice text. The practice text is formatted to be read on your smartphone when it is held horizontally. Excuse me. Let's seal our practice with 3 chants, beginning with impermanent zeal and love. May each being take auspicious rebirth, master the Buddha's path, and then help all others do likewise. Next, the ethics of kindness. May all beings practice of kind communication, conduct, and calmness, the spontaneous and uncontrived. And finally, the 4 immeasurables. May everyone be free from stress, may everyone be happy, may no one be separated from the happiness, may everyone have balance from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging freed. If you feel I have earned it, then type something in the chat window, give this live stream a thumbs up, and share it on social media. In approximately 2.5 hours, I hope to return for Monday's mid-morning meditation. If not, then in most likely 10.5 hours, but possibly sooner. Until next we speak, may you and yours be happy and healthy. And if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.